And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what?
China.
All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing. Yes.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
Only one true ethnic Jew, the Mizrahi Jew, because they are Africans, and if you read the original Bible written in Phoenician Hebrew, they're not. Jewish people are not Europeans. The modern Jews in Israel are Russians or Khazars to be precise, from Russia. I learned it from my grandfather that because he was an Ashkenazi Jew.
The white man is enacting a story all over the world. We left our homes and flooded the world. We smothered culture. We smothered knowledge. We erased history and rewrote it our way. Myself, my grandfather is 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. Claiming to be Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish is just a conspiracy. White men claiming to be of tribes of Israel when I'm Germanic. You know, I have no ties to Israel, no ties to Judaism. You know, except loosely written history that's been whitewashed over for centuries. And, you know,
from the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, right. You wipe everything clean. It's funny how exactly the Renaissance. It's this rebirth, but it's white rebirth. I think at the same exact time that Renaissance is happening, Columbus is sailing to America and committing genocide.
They say go see the African History Museum. Why do they start when the boats came? Why don't they start with the drums?
When we was kings.
No, they don't want it, but we are kings. But the 400 years doesn't have to deal with slavery. It has to deal with the Bible. It has to deal with us being disobedient to God. Us as 12 tribes of Judah, as a member of the Hebrew people, we are still inside of our genocide. 50% of all black deaths a year is abortion.
That's why you called Israel. Is it real? No, it's not. How did we leave there black and come back white? How did we leave there black and come back white? How did we leave there black and come back white? How did we leave there black and come back white? Can somebody answer that for me? Can somebody answer that for me?
I'm so glad you're here because you can bring great clarity. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sephardic Jews and how they were scattered because they went west?
I sure can.
Because the reason why I want to is because a lot of them, and a lot of people don't know this, are in the Caribbean.
They are.
In the islands.
And you're one of them. I know that.
I'm one of them.
I know that.
Because, a lot of folk don't know that those roots are there. One of the first batches of slaves that came to Jamaica, they were the Sephardic Jews. It's documented.
And they're all over the Caribbean, South America, Central America, and even the South Central United States.
Wow.
And DNA testing is a factor in all this now.
Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
Want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Hope all is well with you guys. Want to say shalom, lach, mash, pakha. And to others, want to say shalom to you guys. Hope you guys had a great Shabbat. Hope and pray that you guys are having a great weekend. And of course, I got to show that Jason's lyric clip one more time because I was locked down for a few weeks due to YouTube with their restrictions and all that. So again, I appreciate you, family, for the love and support of the channel, of the platform. And, apologies for not being able to go live. And thank you for supporting my backup channel. And if you haven't subscribed to it, I encourage everyone to subscribe to We Woke Now Extended. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for those that are not subscribed to that channel. Let me go ahead and drop that right now. And let me see here. Let me pull it up. YouTube, they do a lot. They don't send out my notifications and things like that. I've been on the shadow ban list, so in spite of all those things, we continue to grow. And thank you guys for the love and support with that. So I just went on and drop the link inside the comment section. And I encourage you guys to subscribe to that channel. Let's get that channel up to 1,000 subscribers. I started using that channel when I was in lockdown again this last go round. So I'm going to start utilizing that channel more. Every time I do a live here, I'm doing a live over there simultaneously. And in many cases, if I do a live here, I'm just going to let the video sit on We Woke Now extended. So and remove it from here and let it stay over there. So, but yeah, and then we're updating our cameras at our assembly. So in the future, I want to start doing a bulk of our Shabbat services over there, just so that way you guys could separate a lot of the craziness that many will try to bring to the channel inside the chat section. But nevertheless, family, really appreciate you guys. Let's give some shout outs. Haven't done this in a while. And, since me being out of restriction, out of YouTube, being on YouTube parole, so to speak. So I really haven't gotten back into the flow of things. But let's go to start off by giving some shout outs. I want to give shout outs to Paula. And I know some of you guys were here a little early. Well, on time. It's just that I didn't get started on time. So I almost forgot that I had this schedule here. But I want to say peace and blessings to Paula. Sharai, Israel. Want to say peace and blessings to you. And apologies for the delay, but thank you for the love and support. Lamiria Johnson, want to say shalom to you. Lashika, want to say shalom to you. Rashida, shalom, want to say shalom to you. Peace and blessings, sis. Anieki, want to say shalom to you, sis. Really appreciate the love and support and being a moderator. Sister Knit and more. I want to say peace and blessings to you. Inspired Identity. Want to say shalom to you. Thank you for the love and support, sis. Really appreciate you. BDT, Shabbat Shalom. Really want to say peace and blessings to you. Thank you for the love and support. Let's see here. Tone. Make me think of Tony. Want to say shalom to you. D Lions. Shalom to you as well. Who else do we have here? Ajamu Collins, want to say shalom to you as well. Let's see here. Charlotte Ben Yasharal, excuse me. Want to say peace and blessings to you. And yes, we are live on both channels. So we're doing both channels simultaneously just to make sure that we keep the traffic going on over there as well. And I am doing certain uploads over on that channel as well. So really appreciate the love and support. Karen Reed, when they say shalom to you as well. Catching another live, really appreciate you. Wise Society, shalom to you. Karen Reed, all praises. That's right, all praises to the Most High. Peace and blessings to you. CB, want to say peace and blessings to you. And want to say peace and blessings to Elephant Man Podcast Network. Family, subscribe to his channel. Peep out his platform. Doing some great things. And really help pushing this awakening forward and giving some foundational teachings that is much needed in this community, because there's a lot of different teachings, but really appreciate what he's doing on his channel, the Elephant Man Podcast Network. And thank you for the love and support again. Son, want to say peace and blessings to you. Only Way is Up. I want to say Shabbat Shalom to you. Dante Williams, Shalom to you as well. Victor Wheatley, I want to say Shalom to you as well. Let's see here. 78 Yvette, Sister Yvette, thank you for the love and support. Appreciate you. Karen Reed, want to say Shalom to you again. I think I mentioned, but I'll mention it again. Son, want to say peace and blessings to you. And who else do we have here? Angela Bowden, want to say peace and blessings to you. Thank you for the love and support. Ami Yakida, want to say peace and blessings to you. You love Yah, want to say salama to you as well. Ernest Higgs, my buddy Ernest Higgs, want to say peace and blessings to you and thank you for the love and support. I know others starting to jump in here. We'll do a few more as we continue on. Cindy Lou, want to say shalom to you. Mary Yah, want to say shalom to you as well. Hershey Coco, want to say peace and blessings to you. Lee P. Fleming, want to say peace and blessings to you. Let's see here. Octeria Phillips, want to say shalom to you. And I think I got everyone here. And if I didn't get you, like the old school, like my grandmother would say a lot, and like they would say inside the church, the old church, charge it to my head and not to my heart. So really appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. Peace and blessings to Freebird. Want to say shalom to you. Thank you for joining us tonight. So we got a lot to cover, family. I know that I want to have this teaching done a while back, but unfortunately, being in isolation, so to speak, I wasn't able to do it. So we'll pick up where we left off at. Peace and blessings to Cam 2 player holding things down in Las Vegas. Family, let's show the elder some love here. Appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Trayvon Chapman, peace and blessings to you. Thank you for tuning in tonight as well. So family, let's go ahead and get into it. Let me go ahead and stretch this out here. All right. The blowing of trumpets, right? Blowing of trumpets. And I really appreciate, again, the love and support. And I'm doing this teaching and the set of teachings on the feast days because I know that we have a lot of new people that are making that transition into this awakening, coming out of Christianity, coming out of Catholicism, coming out of the religion of the people that have enslaved us, so I know many are coming out and making that transition. And my goal here is, especially on this platform, is to provide some foundational teaching, some lectures, some information that'll help those making the transition really make a smooth transition and not get caught up in some of the pitfalls that exist, because there are some pitfalls there. There are some people that are teaching some doctrines that are contrary to the scriptures, and then also there are a designated group of people that call themselves Christians that really has a hatred for our community, that want to do whatever they can to slander, to defame, to make our testimony, make our works that we are doing good for nothing. And so with that being said, this is going to tie into what we're going to talk about tonight: blowing of trumpets, a call to order. And we're going to give proper clarity of what it means of blowing of the trumpets. So with that being said, thank you, family, for tuning in. But let's go ahead and get into it, right? The blowing of the trumpets. I'm not going to play this video. That video is Joe Biden giving a mandate about the vaccine. So I'm not going to get into all of that, right? But starting off with this thought, all men are liars. Let me say that again. All men are liars. Let me say it one more time. All men are liars. So let's go to the text. Let's see, where am I pulling this from? This comes from the 116th book of Psalms, verses 9 through 11. Let's read it real quick. So notice what you see here. It says, I will walk before Yahweh in the land of the living. I believed, therefore have I spoken. I was greatly afflicted. I said in my haste, all men are liars, right? And I think all of us can relate to this, right? People have rubbed you the wrong way, made you feel a certain kind of way, and your response is saying, hey, you can't trust anybody. You can't trust anyone. All men are liars. And we see what's happening in the church today, right? And I'm not going to go into too much of the specifics of what occurred during my downtime, right? We had someone that called themselves Christians pop up at our assembly a couple of weeks ago while I was not there, while we were closed, and recorded on our property with the goal of making a slanderous video, a video to defame my character by questioning my education in front of our ministry, and made a number of videos since then, and then had the audacity to call me a coward, right? Because reported them to YouTube. But I'm not going to stop there. You're right. I'm going to take it a step further. I'm not going to just deal with YouTube. Now it's time to really say enough is enough, to show that we're not going to sit back and allow these people and other people try to bully our community, try to slander our community, right? So again, they decided to pop up on our property, trespass, traveled all the way from one side of the country to another side of the country to come and try to humiliate and defame and also slander, harass, stalk, because that's what they do. They stalk. They've been stalking me for over 2 years, well over 2 years, and they've made easily 80 plus videos that has me in it, right? So with that uh being said, right, that's what they do, right? They have nothing better to do and think that they're doing things in the name of their Jesus. And notice I said their Jesus, because their Jesus allows them to behave this way. Their Holy Spirit, which is not a Holy Spirit, their spirit allows them to behave this way, right? So with that being said, you can get frustrated when you're dealing with a lot of this foolishness. And I'm sure you guys have to deal with foolishness as well, not just me, because knowing who you are, the scriptures, the Bible, right? Other communities can pinpoint who they are inside the scriptures, but when we pinpoint who we truly are, that we're not just Gentiles, in other words, that bland, that generic term, or the way that it's being used is filled with ambiguity. We can spot the Greeks and see the Greeks of today inside the scriptures. We can spot the Romans and see the Romans of today. We can spot the Assyrians, right? We could do all of those different things, but when it comes to our people, we're the only group of people that fall up under this generic label, right? And just say, hey, we're black. Oh, it doesn't matter. Christ died for everyone. Well, family, that the Christ that we serve, the Messiah that we serve, Yahweh Shai that we serve, number one, he made it clear that he came to die. He came to redeem a specific group of people. So if the Messiah, guess what, didn't pray for everyone, he did not pray for the world. Why have we bought into what Christianity taught us about John 3:16, that God, right, the Most High so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son? But yet Christ said he did not pray for the world. He only prayed for those that belong to him. So that in itself completely obliterates the teachings of the poor teachings, the deceptive teachings of John 3:16. But anyway, with that being said, this is where David is dealing with, because people were, he was dealing with a lot. He had to deal with a lot with his own son, his own household, the stuff that was going on within his household. And he came to this conclusion. It says, I said in my haste, all men are liars. And I'm sure you guys was at one time or another dealing with a number of different situations, can relate to what David is saying here, right? So again, David is dealing with all kinds, different types of situations, and it made him come to this conclusion that all men are liars, right? So let's deal with the Hebrew definition of walk, right? Let's see what it means here, right? So let me go back here to make sure we understand this. I will walk before Yahweh. That's what David said. I will walk before Yahweh in the land of the living, right? I will walk before Yahweh. I will walk before Yahweh. Yahweh means he exists. I will walk, Yalak, right? You'll also see the word halak, right? I will walk before Yahweh in the land of the living, right? I'm going to continue to walk this path regardless of the haters that are out there. I'm going to walk this path regardless of those that are trying to antagonize my reputation, these antagonists that's out there, these haters that are out there. I'm going to walk in alignment with the things of the Most High, right? Regardless of them trying to label us as a cult, because we identify that we are Israelites, right? We're the only group of people that are getting ridiculed. They will not pop up on a synagogue. They will not go in on the Jewish community as we know them. They will not pop up on a mosque. They will not pop up on a Catholic church. They will not pop up on a Jehovah Witness church. They will not pop up on Scientology churches, right? They will not pop up on a Hindu church, but they will try to bring the nonsense to our community. They will not say this stuff to anyone else, but try to do it with our community. Enough is enough. And I'm going to prove with the blowing of the trumpets that we don't have to sit back and allow this hateful group that's out there, a group of haters, all because we're doing things according to scripture. We're the only group of people, when you tell your loved ones that you honoring the Shabbat, that you don't celebrate Sunday worship anymore, you don't worship on the first day of the week, and you tell them that you worship on the Shabbat, what do they say? Oh, you one of those guys. Oh, you are part of a cult. But they don't call the Seventh-day Adventists a cult, right? They don't do that, right? Oh, you want to honor the feast days. Oh, you're a cult. Oh, they have so much to say about our community. I've given proof showing that the Ashkenazi community, with their own literature, their own doctrine, that only 1% of their blood points to Northeast Africa, if that their DNA makes it clear that they are at the least 99% European. But our DNA, right, with facts, has a far higher percentage than that, far higher percentage that points to Northeast Africa, but we get ridiculed. We have to deal with the slander. But guess what? Enough is enough, right? Enough is enough. Going to move forward. We're going to move forward here to knock down a lot of this foolishness. But the key is, I will still walk before the Most High in the land of the living. So let's see what walk means. This is what David's saying: to walk, behave self. That's the key. When he says I'm going to walk, what he's saying is I am going to behave myself in this land of the living, regardless of how people want to act, regardless of how people want to behave, regardless of people that want to try to slander, want to defame my reputation. Guess what? I am going to behave myself. I am not going to get out of character. I am not going to revert to the old man, because the old man would have, I'll just leave that alone. I will behave myself, right? And notice what it says: continually, on continually. Guess what? I'm going to walk. I'm going to be in alignment with the Most High continually, right? This is not going to be a temporary thing. I'm going to continue to do it, right? I'm going to depart from the foolishness. I'm going to continuously enter into his presence. I'm going to exercise self. In other words, self-control. I will walk before the Most High, Yahweh, in the land of the living. Family, do not allow any one of these people, any one of these haters, to cause you to not behave yourself. Behave yourself. Hold up that standard. Don't allow them to cause you to get out of character. Don't allow them to cause you to pick up that old man. No, cast your cares to the Most High. He will handle them. He will handle the haters. Prayer to prayer. If people want to say, hey, you need to pray for your enemies. Okay, here's a prayer for your enemies. Pray to prayer, 55th book of Psalms. Pray that prayer that David prayed for the enemies, his opposition. And you'll see the enemy that's in that text is his own son. Right? So again, right? We are going to behave ourselves. We are not going to get out of character. And that's what we have to remind ourselves, that we are going to behave ourselves. We're going to walk halak or yalak before Yahweh, right? We're going to behave ourselves. We're going to do this continually. All right. We're not going to waver. We're going to exercise self-control. All right. So liars. Let's see what the word liars mean. All right. I forgot to fix my presentation. Let me fix it right now. Since I'm right here, let me fix it real quick. All right, let me fix this animation real quick. I forgot this was messed up, so let me fix it real quick. All right, you guys know I'm very particular when it comes to these presentations. All right, let me fix this now. All right, let me move this aside. All right. All right, there we go. I had to fix this slide here. So let's try this again. All right, this is liars. Let me switch it over. All right, what's happening right now? Bear with me 1 second. All right. I apologize for the delay. My PowerPoint is froze here. I'm not sure why. Bear with me 1 second. Let's see. Yeah, family. Let's pause for a second. All right. I know why it's pausing. Let me take this out here. Let me take that out here for now because that is what's causing the problem. All right, here we go. All right, let's go to continue. Let's look up. Let's see what the Hebrew word kazab means, right? Liar, right? And it says here to lie, deceive, right? We see liar, lie, lying, be in vain, be found, a liar, be in vain, right? David, in his haste, he said, all men are liars, all men are deceivers, right? And I think, again, all of us been in this position because one of the toughest things that he had to deal with was his own son trying to take his life. So again, all men are liars. He goes on to say, grow, right? But notice here, lead, march, move self, all right? So let's go to the 116th book of Psalms. And I want to highlight a few things here, right? Starting at verse 12, it says, what shall I render unto Yahweh for all his benefits towards me? Let me read that again. And I hope you guys really grab hold of what David is saying here. He says, what shall I render unto Yahweh for all his benefits towards me? Have you really thought about that? You know, what are you going to give back to the Most High for the benefits, right? His benefits package that he's given us, his plan of salvation, his plan of redemption. What is your, what are you going to give back to him? Right? He says here, what shall I render unto Yahweh for all his benefits towards me? I will take the cup of salvation, right? I will take the cup of salvation, Yasha, and call upon the name of Yahweh, right? Salvation means to get victory. It means delivered. It means having salvation. It means redeem. It means to protect, right? But again, I will take the cup of getting the victory and I will call upon the name, Hasham Yahweh, name, right? The Hebrew name, word for name is Sham. It means reputation of Yahweh, which means he exists. I will pay my vows. See, that's the kicker right there. What David is saying here, he said, what shall I render to Yahweh for his benefits towards me? Now he answers that question in verse 14. I will pay my vows unto Yahweh now in the presence of all his people. In other words, I am going to keep my commitment. I'm going to honor my word to the Most High. And this is where many of us get in trouble because we don't honor our word. We don't stay. We're not committed like we are supposed to be committed. We allow other things to get in the way of our commitment. But David said he's going to make sure that he's going to pay his vows, keep his promises to the Most High in the presence of all of his people. He didn't say some, he said all of his people, right? The cloud of witnesses, right? He said, I will pay my vows. And family, this is what we have to do. we have to make sure that we don't break our commitment. And if many think that the Most High is understanding of you breaking your commitment, you breaking your promise to him, I encourage you to read the book of the chapter 5 of Ecclesiastics, right? I call that chapter the foot and mouth chapter. And you will see that the Most High is not understanding when you break your commitment. You say you're going to do something for him and then you break it. Yeah, if you get me out of this situation, I'll do this. And shortly after you get delivered out of that situation, you completely forget what you had promised the Most High. So guess what? That's what Judgment Day is going to be about. It's going to be so many people that's going to get caught out there because of what? A broken commitment. Guess what? Cheating, when somebody cheat on their spouse, it's all about a broken commitment. The broken commitment occurred before they carried out the act. When somebody lied, guess what? That broken commitment, that lie began before they opened their mouth. It was already inside their heart. It was already inside their mind. So again, a broken commitment is the key, right? That is the key. And everything else you see is the actions of someone that's operating in a broken commitment, right? So again, honor your commitments to the Most High. That's what David is saying right here. So the blowing of trumpets, Zakar Wan Thara Wa, Thara Aya, right? The blowing of trumpets, right? Let's deal with the blowing of trumpets. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 23. Let's go here. Notice what it says. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, Mashah. That's Moses' ancient Hebrew name. It's not Moshe, it's Mashah, right? And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speaking to the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Shabbat. So what this is telling you, that the first day of the month, right, of the 7th month, it can fall any day of the week. See, a lot of the people that follow this, what you call it, now I can't think of the term that I want to I can't, the linear calendar, right? When they follow that calendar, right, the moon, right, they try to make every when that new moon comes, right, they try to make that day as being the first day of the week. No, that's not how it works. Or they try to make that become the Monday, or I mean not Monday, the first day of the week. I want to say Sunday because that's not what they called it back at that time. No, that's not, that's not what the Most High has called us to do. We see right here, the first day of the month can fall any day of the week, just like your birthday. Your birthday can fall any day of the week, right? So whether we're dealing with, as Sister Yvette Rivera made reference to, the Gregorian calendar, or we can exclude the Gregorian calendar and just deal with the ancient Hebraic calendar, right? Because when you deal with 30-day months, 360 day years, guess what? The days are going to fluctuate. So it's saying here, no matter what day that first day of the month fall on, it will be a Shabbat. Because if that's the case, right, this would be the 7th day, right? But it's saying the first day of the month of the first day of the 7th month, it will be a Shabbat, right? It will be a Shabbat. Let me say it one more time. The first day of the month, regardless of what day that it falls on, it will be the Shabbat. And that's what it's saying right here. So if it fell on a second day of the week, it will be considered, a first day of the week. So like I said, this is where we have to make sure that we, really do our due diligence with really understanding what the text is and what the text says. And I'll do a special teaching on that, but not tonight, right? So it's saying here, speaking to the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month. Remember, when you understand this number 7, right? Especially when we deal with the Shabbat, the 7th day of the week is a Shabbat. Guess what? This is saying the 7th month, right? In the 7th month, we see a number of things that are happening here. The very first day of the month, Shabbat. We see a celebration here. We see Day of Atonements, which is a Shabbat. It's a day of fasting. Then we see the Feast of Tabernacles, which is a week of Shabbats, right? But nevertheless, it says, speaking to the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Shabbat, a memorial, Zakar-wan, right? Or Zakarawan, however you want to pronounce it, of blowing of trumpets, Ayah, and holy convocation, right? So when is blowing of the trumpets? I just gave it to you. Now, this is a calendar from when I initially put the calendar together a few years ago. And I encourage you guys to watch the video that I did dealing with the resurrection, dealing with Passover, when I actually reconstructed the Hebrew calendar based off of scripture and historical research, right? So last year, right, the blowing of the trumpets occurred on the Gregorian calendar, which would be the sunset of October 8th to sunset October 9th, right? But this is how the initial calendar was in ancient Hebrew, right? But that's what this is saying right here, okay? So Hebrew definition of memorial, because this is supposed to be a memorial. It says a memento, memorial, record, reminder. So family, the Most High did not want his people to forget about honoring his feast day. He wants us to honor his feast day. Even though we hear in the church, it's taught that we don't have to honor the feast days. Come on, family. That's not true, right? And I taught this earlier, and I've been teaching this over and over again. Isaiah chapter 56 shuts down that argument, because they'll teach, oh, well, the Gentiles don't have to honor the feast days. The Gentiles don't have to honor the commandments. That's Israel. Well, wait a minute. You want the same Christ, right, that said he came to bring salvation to Israel, but you don't want to listen to him. You don't want to do what he actually did. In church, you heard it a lot of times. I mean, you heard it a lot from a lot of the parishioners. Hey, do what Christ did. I want to do what Jesus did. Well, do what Christ did. Honor the commandments of the Most High. And guess what? Honor the feast days, right? So again, Christ did not do away with the commandments, right? So when you read Isaiah 56, you'll see, for the sons of strangers, that are those that are not blood descendants of Israel, you'll see the Most High placing a point of emphasis of honoring the Shabbats, plural. What does that mean? And that text is referring to the feast days, right? Because he said, honor the Shabbats, right? Don't profane the Shabbats, and take hold of his covenant. Well, the covenant is the 10 commandments. That's the scriptures. The covenant is the 10 commandments. So under the 10 commandments, the Shabbat is right up under the 10 commandments. You can't get around it. So it's not saying honor the Shabbat and honor the 10 commandments. No, what it means is it said honor the feast days and also the covenant, because the seventh day Shabbat is covered there, right? So the Shabbat, the word means rest, but it also means to celebrate. That's what it means. And we're supposed to make a record of this, to remember this. So Zakar Wan simply means reminder. So a memorial, a blowing of the trumpets. So when we see blowing, and this is key right here, right? Blowing, right? It says here, clamor, an example, right? Acclamation of joy or a battle cry. See, family, that's the part that we don't hear. That is the part that we don't want to hear. We don't grab hold of. Actually, it's not even taught, right? Blow, right? Now here, just the Israeli pronunciation, teruah, right? Actually, I ain't gonna get into it, but when you actually understand this word, it's not just meaning just to blow a trumpet just to be blowing it. No, it says an acclamation of joy, but it says, or a battle cry. That's the part we miss it. We miss that part. The blowing of the trumpets is also a battle cry. It's a call to order, right? Like every service, right? You have a call to order, right? When people come in, you may have someone doing intercessory prayer, and then you have people coming in still not settled. Some may be in the back, some may be downstairs, some may be doing different things, a lot of moving around in this sanctuary. But guess what? When that call to order comes, right? When the call to order generally is when that invocation, that prayer goes up. When that invocation happens, that's a call to order for everyone to stop moving around, that the service has officially began. But guess what? When we deal with the blowing of the trumpets, blowing of the shapar, right? That means that it's a call to order. It's also, again, a battle cry, not just an acclamation, as you see here, of joy, but it's also a battle cry. A battle cry. A battle cry, family. Right? Guess what, family? We're going to let out our battle cry. I don't know about you, but I'm letting out my battle cry. Our assembly let out our battle cry. We're not going to sit up here and let anyone intimidate us because we are the people of the book. We're not going to let anyone intimidate us because they cannot deal with the information. They are insecure with themselves, so they want to try to play this slanderous game, this defamation game. No, we're not playing that. We're not playing that. No, we're going to let out our battle cry, and I'm going to show you what it means and the purpose of letting out a battle cry. So notice what it says: joy or a battle cry, clangor of trumpets, joy, jubilee, loud noise, rejoicing, shout, shouting. That's what it means to blow. So Tharawa'aya simply means an acclamation of joy expressed by rejoicing with a high joyful shout, a war cry. So the blowing of the trumpets is a reminder to express our appreciation to Yahweh through a highly joyful shout, right? But it also, remember, this means also a battle cry. This is the part that we miss. I'm going to deal with battle cry. So when we go to the 83rd book of Psalms, and you guys, some of you guys that have been following me for a couple of years, you know that I repeatedly teach on this, right? I want to rehearse it in your ears. Notice what this says here. Keep not thou silence, O Elohim, right? It goes on to say, hold not thy peace and be not still, right? Peace, hold not thy peace. Be not still. So here you will see, when you think about the Hebrew phrase, karash nak, right? Be not silent, right? That's what he's saying. Hold not thy silence. Do not be silent. Do not be quiet, and be not settled. Be not still. Because now what we see here, because of the threat, we need the Most High to move like never before. How many of you guys can attest to that? You need the Most High to move like never before. You're dealing with all kinds of situations. You're dealing with a daisy chain of situations. You need the Most High to move like never before. That's what we see. Notice we see here, if we take off the knot, it says peace, be still. But it says peace, be not still. In other words, karash la knock, right? In other words, don't be still, Most High. Don't be quiet, Most High. I need you to move like never before. Why? Because there's a threat. There's haters. There are people that are coming against your people. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. The Hebrew word there is hama, but it says make a tumult, and we'll deal with that. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. That's what verse 3 is. I just quoted the rest of it. Your hidden ones. Who are the hidden ones? Guess what, family? We are the hidden ones. We are the ones that everyone knew who we are. Everyone know that we're the people of the book, but us. We've been hidden. We've been hidden. They have taken crafty counsel against thy hidden ones, against thy people, against thy hidden ones. Right? Come on, let's give Get this going, family. I hope this going to really encourage those that are watching. I hope that this gives you some motivation to really let out your war cry, not just a joyful noise. Put your noise on purpose. Put a purpose behind it. You got opposition, let out your battle cry. You don't have to have a physical shofar or shofar rather, or shofar. You got one. The Most High gave you a natural one. It's your mouth. Right, but let's deal with the Hebrew definition of tumult. I already gave it to you, but notice what it says. Hama, it says to make a loud noise, a loud sound. But here it is: make a loud sound, to be in great commotion. Right, you see tumult, to rage war. Right, notice here: make a noise, still tying into the overall definition. Sound, be in an uproar. Right? That's what this is saying. This is saying what? A battle cry. That's what this means. A battle cry. Hama simply means a battle cry. The crafty counsel is making a battle cry. See, the problem with Yah's people, we, especially dealing with religion, we have been dumbed down. We have been made docile because of religion. Oh, they how they've been teaching the word to us, to our people. Hey, you know what? Love your enemies. Hey, pray for your enemies, and not giving the proper context of that text. Right? But even David, when his enemy in the 55th book of Psalms, his own son tried to take the throne from him. His own son caused David and his family and other families to have to flee Jerusalem, all because of a rebellious son who wanted to take the throne from him. Man, you had a coup going on in among David's household for the throne. So guess what? The enemy is not playing. The enemy is making a raging war against our people. The enemy has a battle cry, has a war cry. They are in great commotion right now because of this awakening. Guess what? We don't have to sit back and do like how we were taught incorrectly about resurrection. We were taught incorrectly about what it means to have eternal life. Man, we were taught that, hey, things will get better when we die. No, I want to live. I want to enjoy this life. I'm not waiting for things to get better when I die. No, I want to make sure that I do whatever I can do within the power that the Most High has given me, and also trusting in the Most High that I am going and my family is going to live a very good life. We're not going to sit back and wait till after we die for things to get better. That's not the Most High. That's what we've been taught. And then we've been given a Jesus, but not the Christ of the scripture. The Jesus that we were given looked like the very people that have kidnapped us. In other words, raptured us, raped us, which is fall under the definition of rapture, murdered our people, did all of these different things to this community, and still doing things to this community. And you want me to believe in a Christ that looked like our oppressor? No. What you see is not biblical. What you see is not the true Messiah. So that's what they've done to our people, to where as though now we think that, if you respond with a war cry, something is wrong. No, that's not nothing is wrong with you when you want to take action. Nothing is wrong with you when you want to, retaliate. But we have to make sure we do things within the parameters of the Most High. We got to make sure that we don't get caught up in this flesh, because I'm gonna tell you, some of this stuff that is going on, it makes you want to just go slam off. It makes me want to say, Most High, just let me for one moment, let me just get back to the old man. Let me just for one day, let me handle these people that call themselves trying to humiliate me, trying to defame my reputation. Let me for one day be able to revert back to that old man. But guess what? Like David, when David had to deal with this situation with his son, when he had Saul's crazy cousin trying to call him out, lying on him, saying that he killed Saul, he spit at David. He threw rocks at David. And David's own soldier wanted to take his head off. But David told his soldier, pull back. Leave him alone. Maybe I need to go through this moment. Maybe I need to just go through what I need to go through for this moment. right? Because David was a man of war. David would chop your head off. David would kill you in a heartbeat. But during this time, he had to use wisdom because he wasn't just fleeing Jerusalem with his soldiers. He had families with him. So family, there's nothing wrong with wanting to take revenge, but we have to make sure we do it in the way that the Most High tell us to do it. Because if it was left up to many of us, like myself, there'll be body parts all over the place. Right? It's been many times I said, yeah, let me just get one moment of give me one moment. So that way I could just leave body parts everywhere. Right? If it was left up to us, we'll leave body parts everywhere. We'll leave personalities. Anyway, we'll leave people, spirits all over the place. Right? Because that's human nature. But we have to do things according to the Most High. Right? We can't allow impulses dictate how we move, right? That's why we have to do things through the Most High. The Most High says stop. Because once I get going, I don't know how to stop, right? So I have to do things the way the Most High say do it, right, family? We don't have to sit back and let people humiliate us and do what they're trying to do. You know what? Okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to make a note of it, and I'm going to use the system against these people like Moses did. Anyway, Moses knew the system. Guess what? Daniel knew the system. And the Hebrew young men or his buddies, they knew the system. Esther knew the system. We could go right down a list of those that worked the system in order to do what? Fight against those that tried to oppress them. Joseph knew the system. We could go right down the list, family. Go right down the list. No, I'm not going to sit back. I'm not going to sit back. The enemy want to make a war cry, want to make a battle cry. Okay, I'm going to show you that your hands is too short to box with the Most High. And guess what? I am his servant. Guess what? Your arms are too short. You can't box. You can't box with the servant of the Most High. Guess what? Every time they tried to take us down, every time they tried to slander this channel, what happened? Every time they tried to slander and try to defame my reputation, what happened? Come on, family. No, we got to let out a battle cry. Why? Because your life is on the line. No, I'm not letting no one take my life. The Messiah told his disciples what? Go arm yourself, sell your coat, and arm yourself. He didn't tell them to go out and start fights, but he taught them how to defend themselves. Say, hey, you got something valuable. If someone, and I'm paraphrasing, someone come and try to take it from you, defend yourself. There's nothing wrong with defending ourselves, family. So don't ask me to pray for someone that and try to put them in this category of being my brother when they made it clear that we're not their brothers, we're not their sisters, because a true brother and sister would not behave the way that they behaving. Right? Don't ask me to pray for them. I'm not praying for them. Well, I'll pray the prayer that David prayed, the 55th book of Psalms, right? That's the prayer that you need to pray. And if you need me to bring it up, I'll bring it up. But that's the prayer that you need to pray. All right. But anyway, let's go ahead and move forward. Let's deal with this. So Hama, this is a war cry. And let me show you what war cry means. Tumult means war cry. Let's go to war cry. Let's see what it says. Right? A cry used by a body of fighters in war, a slogan used especially to rally people to a cause. So you have people in church, right? You have people in Catholicism. You have people in this conscious community. You have people in all these different communities. They have used the word or used the phrase Hebrew Israelites or Black Hebrew Israelites. That's what they started off with. Black Hebrew Israelites. Now they refer to us as just Hebrew Israelites. And you even hear them coming up with terms like Hebrew Israelism. Makes absolutely no sense when you understand the word Hebrewism or Israelism. Hebrewism is still going to point you to Israelism. Israelism simply means the doctrines of who? The Israelites. But they took those things, those terms, those legal terms, those terms that's biblical, and used it to make it into a slogan to rally a particular group of people to come against our community. Who is that group of people? They're Christian buddies and sisters, brothers and sisters. They're Catholic brothers and sisters. All these different groups that are coming against our community. Come on, family. We got to speak up on this thing. But no, I'm not going to hide my face. I'm not going to do any of those things. I'm going to go and guess what? I'm going to let out the war cry. My war cry has already been let out. And guess what? I'm not backing down to no one. I'm not backing down. I'm going to push straight forward, full speed ahead, right? Use the resources that is in front of me, right? So again, a slogan used especially to rally people to a cause. Come on, family. A slogan. So again, have you ever thought that you will live to hear and see the day that the phrase Hebrew Israelite is a negative term, or Hebrew Israelism is a negative term? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about that? Hebraism is now supposed to be a negative term. Family, let me pull it up here real quick, family. Let me pull it up here. See, this is what it means, a war cry, because a war cry could take any word and make it into a curse word. See, a curse word, we think that a curse word, many of us think that a curse word is just saying the D word or the F bomb and all of that. You can take a word like Twinkie and make it into a curse word. It's how you use it. Right. Some of you guys probably remember Good Times. Man, I remember Good Times. I remember Grand Pullman, one of his songs, he said, I could relate to the good times, Cosby on the sometimes. In other words, Good Times, right? That was the show, right? You know, that, hey, I watched when I was a little kid. And I remember that there was an episode with Miss Evans, right? After James had died, there was another guy, right, that was interested in her, right? And I remember that episode so clearly. I don't know why that episode, of all the episodes, stick with me, but the person told her that said something to her that really got up under her skin, right? But she could not stand it. He said something to her that really got up under her skin. So she went to Rolona. Miss Evans went to Rolona, her best friend, and said, hey, you know, this guy really said something and it burns me up. Every time he say this, it just burns me up. And Rolona, like, what did he say? What did he call you? He said, he told me I'm perfect. And Rolona is like, huh? You upset? You worked up because he said you were perfect? But she said to this Evans said to her, Florida, she said to her, well, you just have to hear how he says it. See, family, that's a perfect analogy of what we see happening today. We see that terms that are biblical terms, oh, you those Israelites, right? Notice we're living in the day and time that the term Israelites is a negative term. Hebraism is a negative term. People that are hating against us have created. These are the slogans. This is what the Hama, that's what it means, the tumult. Now, let me pull it up here real quick, and I'm going to show you the agenda, right? Let me pull it up here real quick. I think I have it here, right? Creating stuff, making up stuff. And unfortunately, we have a number of hopped and bobs that are pushing the agenda. They'll use them to kind of gauge on how far they can go, right? They're using hop and bobs to gauge how far they believe that they can go, right? With insulting our people, right? Let me see here. Let me do something here. I'm going to pull up Hebraism right now, right? This is the foolishness that we see here, but this is the war cry that I'm talking about, right? Right? They come up with all kinds of terms, right? They even tried to come up with the term moderate. They tried to come up with all kinds of terms to try to classify us or box us into a circle so that way they can rally a particular group of people behind a cause, right? Remember, a cry used by a body of fighters in war, a slogan used especially to rally people to a cause, right? This is Hebraism, right? Notice what it says, Hebraism, meaning a quality or characteristics characteristic of the Bible or the biblical Hebrew people, right? Phrase or construction characteristic of the Hebrew language. See Hebraic plus ism. And when you go into the different, go deeper into this, this is simply what? The doctrines of the Hebrew people. So technically, right, Christianity has, because they have the roles, their books of the Bible were written by who? Hebraic people. But now we have people coming up with slogans, as I just pointed out, coming up with a tumult to rally a particular people to a cause. And that cause is to do what? Come against our community. Come on, family. We can't get away from this. Come on, family. We can't get away from this. And people are running with this foolishness. So let me take you to another thing that you don't hear being spoken of is slavery in the Catholic Church. I have to teach this almost every other week, it seems like, just to make sure we reiterate this point. I don't want to hear that, hey, well, I'm practicing a Eastern Christianity versus a Western Christianity. I don't want to hear that. Christianity enslaved us, period. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear, well, Christianity is a black man religion. No, Christianity is not. Right? Christianity is not a our people religion, because this is not our culture. Right? Come on now, let's put things in this proper perspective. Even if you want to say it is, this Christianity period, the word did not come into existence until like the 9th, 10th century. And yet you want to say Christianity been there from Christ. No, Christ didn't create Christianity. Paul didn't create Christianity. Actually, when you read Paul's letters and see the warnings he's given, he spoke against Christianity. He spoke against Catholicism. It's right inside his word. So no, Christianity is not a Hebrew Israelite belief system. Torah is our culture. The law, statutes, and commandments is our culture. The Messiah, the Hebrew Israelite Messiah, is part of our culture. So slavery in the Catholic Church. Hello, let's hear if the church want to talk about this, right? Papal grants, and I hope you guys watched the lecture I uploaded by Professor Harms, who even talks about what they did in the name of religion, the name of Christianity, the name of Catholicism, and how they use that to justify enslaving and subjecting our people to the brutalities that they had to endure. So notice what it says here. Papal grants to the kings of Portugal given authority to enslave the Saracens and other non-Christians of West Africa with whom Christendom, right? Christendom, that's the Catholic Church. Christendom, that is the Christian church. All these belief systems were at war with our people. It says Christendom is at war. They let out a battle cry. They let out a war cry. They let out a Hama, right? To come against Yah's people, the hidden ones that were scattered all through the land. They enslaved us and subjected us to all this type of foolishness. They subjected us. They raptured us. They raped. They kidnapped us, going against the law itself. Exodus 21:16 or 21:15 about kidnapping someone and forcing them into slavery. They don't read that. So papal grants to the kings of Portugal giving authority to enslave the Saracens and other non-Christians of West Africa with whom Christendom is at war. In 1442, a Portuguese captain brought to the Gold Coast some Moorish prisoners of war, exchanged them for 10 Negro slaves. This, you need to understand this, family. Moors, right? These are dealing with Islam. This is dealing with Muslims who was at war with the Portuguese, right? And they had sold our people 10 Negroes, 10 Israelites, 10 Negroes, 10 Negas, 10 Nagid, 10 Nagars. Can I be real with that, family? Y'all know what I'm going at with this. They sold this to 10 of these to the Moors.
Strong's G 3526. Niger. Niger. Strong's G 3526. Niger.
Nigga. Nigger.
Could you use it in a sentence?
Real nigga roll call. Niggas bleed. Jigga my nigga. Niggas for life. Real niggas don't die. Shame on a nigga. Suck a nigga. Ain't no nigga. Ain't no nigga. Ain't no
Niggas.
And Andrew, did you say the word loudly for the judges?
nigga.
Niggas.
One more time.
Nigger.
Niggas.
Negus.
Nigga.
Niggas.
See, that's what they sold. They sold 10 of us, exchanged them because the Portuguese had some of the Moors prisoners of war, as you see here, POWs, and they took them and exchanged them in order to free their people. Come on, family. We can't get around this history. We can't get around this history. We cannot get around this history, right? We've been dumbed down to look at this tragic event as a slave trade, but not look at it for what it was and what it is. It is a world war, and we are prisoners of war. We are prisoners, or should I say sons and daughters of prisoners of war. So Christianity, Catholicism declared a war on our people, period, and still carrying out a war on our people. Exchanged them for 10 Negro slaves and brought these back to Lisbon, a trading settlement that which was established at Lagos by 1444. It would appear that by 1452, the Portuguese were anxious to establish their property rights over their newly discovered West African territory. And so Pope Nicholas, Santa Claus, Pope Nicholas, Saint Nick, right? Because he's a saint, right? Excuse me. Saint Nicholas V was approached and was apparently led to believe that these territories of the Guinea coast were inhabited by Saracens and other enemies of Christendom. There is no other explanation of a series of papal documents which applied the well-known, notice what it says, applied the well-known contemporary rules of what? War. Come on, family. This was a war, family. Anyone that continues to push the notion that we're preparing for World War III don't understand history. Why? Because now we're doing the very job of our oppressors because we're not identifying what took place. We're not calling it what it is, right? How have we been affected by this? Right? It was a world war. It was a war. The rules of war was applied to our people. And we are sons and daughters of POWs. Right? So there's no other explanation of a series of papal documents, right? These are part of Christianity. These are part of Catholicism. These doctrines are part of that system. They can't get away from it. These documents, these edicts, and all these things that was issued, these are part of Christianity. These are part of Catholicism. This is their history. This is their documents, which applied the well-known contemporary rules of war to the situation in West Africa, whereas the Portuguese were well aware the local Negro inhabitants were not Saracens, right? They were not Arabs, right? And they were not Muslims. They were not practicing Islam. That's a whole lot to go with that. And we're not enemies of Christendom. Come on, family. I'm going to have to give a 3-piece on this foolishness, man. Matter of fact, let me give a garbage can for all the foolishness that continue to go out, right, over those pulpits, right? Let me just give it a garbage can. You give a 3-piece for that delusion. Let me give him the order to go. Come on, family. We're still tying in. We're still staying in the blowing of the trumpets, right? So right now we're dealing with the crafty council making a war cry. That war cry is still going, family. That war cry is still going. The 83rd book of Psalms, verses 3 through 5. Notice what it says. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Because they know who the remnant is. Come on, family. These people know who the remnant is. They know who the hidden ones is, right? Verse 4, they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, right? The three pillars, right, that constitutes a nation of being a nation is land, family, and tongues. What did they do? They took our language away from us. They took our families away from us, perverted our families, and took our territories away from us. These three pillars, let us cut them off from being a nation. Ezekiel chapter 37, guess what? It says about us. It says that we're crying out, the scattered to the four corners, saying that we are cut off. We are lost. We are cut off from our parts. We are a group of people who are lost. We don't know our identity as a people, and we're cut off from our home. We're cut off from our homeland. Everyone came together. All the nations came together in a world war. And guess what? Systematically picked us apart, scattered us to the four corners of this world, this earth. Said that the name of Israel, in other words, the reputation of Israel, being no more remembers, be no more in remembrance, saying that we don't even know who we are. That's what this means. Name Sham, which means reputation. It means character of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Guess what? That we are we not experiencing this? Because most of us don't know that we're Israelites. Most of us here in this country, and I'm not saying every dark-skinned person is an Israelite. I'm making that clear. But guess what? Most of us that are sons and daughters of slaves, guess what? We are Israelites. We are Israelites. And they made sure, this crafty council made sure that we won't even remember our reputation anymore. That's what this is saying. For they have consulted together with one consent. Akkad, one consent. They are confederate, constitution, alliance, allegiance, the asiento against thee. Come on, family. Hebrew definition of confederate, right? Barayath, right? It says here, confederate, fetter, confederate, covenant. Wait a minute. So Christianity, Catholicism have brainwashed us to reject the covenant and embrace their covenant and carry out their agenda. We're not under the law. We don't have to honor the commandments. That Christ nailed that to the cross. That is an absolute lie. But guess what? They'll fight for the Constitution of the United States. They'll fight for this covenant. They'll fight for the created commandments that the Catholic Church has made and Christianity continues to embrace. Come on, family. But they can't and don't want to honor the commandments of the Most High. That is the covenant. You can't get around that. The 10 Commandments is the covenant. It says it in the word a few times. Can't get around it, family. So confederate means covenant. So the 10 kingdoms came together and created a covenant to destroy Israel. Who are they? Right? We know who they are. It says it right there. Israel's crazy cousins began to spark deals with other communities to come against us, right? Family, right? Kinfolks, right? You know, sometimes your family can be the worst ones. So let's go to Joshua chapter 6, verse 4 and 5. I want to get back to the blowing of the trumpets, right? Notice what this says here. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priest shall blow with the trumpets. Let me read it again. And 7 Shabbai priests, Kahan Yam, right? In the Israeli language, this is where you get Konim, right? But actually it's Kahan Yam, that's plural, priest, singular, Kahan. So Kahan Yam, priest, shall bear the ark 7 Shabbai trumpets shawapar wath, right? That's feminine plural, of ram's horns. And then that's what we see Yahweh Yahweh Baal Yam. And the seventh day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priest shall blow thakwa or thakwai with the trumpets shawapar wath. So let me read it one more time. And the 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets. So the priest is going to what? They're going to be before the ark. 7 priests, each one of them going to have a shofar or a shapar, a ram's horn. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times. So guess what? They had to compass the city once each day, right? But on the 7th day, they had to do it 7 times on this particular day, right? And the priest shall blow thakwa, right? Or thakwa, yeah, I said it, thakwa, right? With the trumpets shawapar wath. So it said they're going to go around the city 7 times, and the priests will blow the trumpets. They're going to let out not just a joy of celebration. They are going to let out a war cry, because the enemy has a war cry. And guess what, family? We have a war cry. That's what is happening right here. They are ready for war. But here, their weapons is different than the people that's on those walls on the other side of the walls. See, the people that's on the other side of the walls, they have an army. The people that's on the other side of the walls, they have weaponry, excuse me. The people that's on the other side of that wall, they have more artillery, military artillery, far more than what the Israelites have. So the Israel's weapons is totally different. Right? It's something to laugh at if you look at it from a actual art of war. It goes against the conventional way of how war is fought. So here it is. Israel has the priests in front. They have the Ark of the Covenant out there. And now here it is. The priest has 7 trumpets, right? Against the enemy. So they're not just out here praising. They're not called to just praise, but they're here to let out a war cry. But let's see what war cry means. Let's continue on. Verse 5, and it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the rams, right? The ram's horn, right? Yahweh Baal horn, Quaran, right? Sound familiar? Sounds similar to what? Quran, right? But Quaran, right? And we'll see this word, all right, in Zechariah chapter 1 when we start dealing. Anyway, I'm not getting into all of that, right? And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast, because there's different sounds that you can make with the shofar, right? And I did a shapar, and I did a lesson on this, the different far as Israel, far as the formation, and really dealing with the different sounds that the horn would make. And also we had a pastor Fountain, a good friend of mine that taught as well, and he really broke down the different sounds. Did a great job with the sermon that he gave. So there's different sounds, but here it says make a long blast. In other words, a sustaining blast. And when ye hear the sound of the trumpet, this is to the people, when you hear the long blast, right, coming from these 7 trumpets, these 7 shofars that's being blown by the priests, all the people shall shout with a great shout. Right? Great. We see here, Gadawal, great shout. Tharawa Aya. Right? Some would say Tharawa, right? But nevertheless, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat. Wait a minute. It says, and the wall of the city is not just going to fall down, it says it shall fall down flat. In other words, the people don't have to climb those walls anymore. They're going to let out a shout. And the people will be able to walk, as it says here, and the people shall ascend up, every man straight before them. Guess what? Those walls will not be walls anymore. Those walls will be leveled to the point that Israel don't have to struggle to get over them. They'll just walk through the rubble. They'll walk through the rubble that's all around them. They will be able to cease and take what the Most High has promised to them. And the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up, every man straight before him. Right. And when I think about the wall, I think about this letter, the Kath, right? In the Israeli language, it's pronounced Chet, but it means wall. It means divide, numerical value 8. So guess what? Here it is. Israel is going against this wall, right? Israel is fighting against this wall that's separating them from their promise. So the Most High is giving them specific instructions. And family, don't get discouraged when the Most High give you instructions to do that's contrary to how you and I would normally handle a situation. Hey, the Most High could tell you to do something so totally contrary, and guess what? It'd be just as effective at tearing down whatever needs to be torn down. All right, as far as the opposition. So notice this here, right? The shofar or shawapar, right? Notice here, it says here a coronet, curved horn, trumpet. That's all it means. So all the people shall shout with a great shout, right? Joshua chapter 6, verse 16. Let's go to verse 16. Notice what it says. And it came to pass, right now, the earlier passages were the instructions. Israel was given the instructions. Now they have to carry out the instructions. See, that's the key, family. It's not just hearing the instructions. Faith come by hearing, but not just hearing, but doing, right, what the word says. So, and it came to pass at the seventh time when the priest blew the trumpets, right, shawapar, wath, Joshua said to the people, shout, Ra Ya'ai, right? That's the ancient Hebrew word that's there. Ra Ya'ai. For Yahweh hath given you the city. Come on, family. They had to shout, right? Before they shouted, the walls were still there. So they had to give a praise. They had to give a shout. They had to give a war cry that was going to shatter that city, that was going to shatter those walls. They had to give a shout, a great shout in unison, in conjunction to the trumpets, that sustaining sound. Because guess what? The priest blew the trumpets, the shofar, shawapar, with a sustaining sound. That means our worship has to be, our shout here, they had to have a shout that was a sustaining shout. Come on, family. I hope this helps you guys out. You guys got to learn how to give a sustaining shout. Not just shouting, give a sustaining shout. See, that's one of the things, it's my pet peeve when we deal with praise and worship, right? Many people don't know how to give a sustaining shout. They start wavering after screaming out or shouting out hallelujah after 30 seconds. They start wavering. They start tapering off. No, a sustaining shout. It says, for Yahweh hath given you the city. Come on, family. Can you shout before you see the results? That's what they had to do. The Hebrew definition of shout. Notice what it says here, right? The background is incorrect, right? This is incorrect. This background is incorrect. But anyway, notice what it says. Notice what it says. To split the ears. Shout, blow an alarm, destroy, make a joyful noise. Notice here, to split the ears. So Israel had to make a shout that would split the ears of the adversary. Come on, family. Can you make a war cry? Can you shout with a war cry that's going to bust the eardrums of the enemy, that will knock them off, that would mess up their whole equilibrium? That's what Israel did here. So when you making a shout, when you are giving out, letting out your battle cry, your war cry, your battle cry, your war cry will split the ears of the enemy and cause them to lose their balance. Come on, family. Some of you guys should be excited. Some of you guys should be excited. Some of you guys should be going Sister Carol up in here. Some of you guys should be dancing with joy. Some of you guys should be doing this right now. Come on, family. Come on, family. That's what it means. When you understand our war cry, see, our war cry is supposed to split the ears. It's supposed to be a sustaining shout. Let's give special love to Sister Yvette. Thank you for the love and support. Thank you. I really appreciate you, my sister, and anyone that may have contributed while I was toggled into my presentation, because I only have one screen here. I have to get me another screen. I promise you, I am going to get one within the next couple of days. I'll get over to the store and get one. I just got to go get one because right now I'm working on one screen, so I cannot see the chat while I teach. So that's why I may miss others that may have contributions that may have been given by others. So let's show Sister Yvette some love. Thank you, Sister Yvette. Really appreciate you, sis. And anyone else that may have contributed to the channel tonight, and those that have given earlier during our Shabbat service, thank you. Really appreciate you guys. So again, right, we see here, to split the ear, shout, blow an alarm, destroy, make a joyful noise. Come on, family. A sustaining shout, a battle cry shout. See, a battle cry, that shout is a sustaining shout. Absolutely, Elder. As she pointed out, I have a sustainable cry. Hallelujah. A battle cry. Come on, family. That's what we have to do. We have to have a sustaining shout, a sustaining shout. Raise a sustaining sound. Raise a cry that's going to continue on, a long cry. Give a blast, a long sustaining blast. So Ra'yai means to split the ears with sound, make a joyful noise. That's what it means. Triumph, joyful noise, triumph. So if an opera singer can cause a glass to break because they hit a certain pitch, a certain note, a certain frequency, how much more can we do? An opera singer could cause a glass to crack, crystal to crack, right? Guess what? We could cause walls to come down. Come on, family. Come on, family. We don't have to sit here and sit back and let people treat us the way that they are treating us. The 47th book of Psalm, verse 1, notice what it says here. Oh, clap your hands, all ye people. Let me say that again. Oh, clap, thakwa'ai, your hands, kapa or kop, right? That's your hands. That's the actual Hebrew word for hands. Right? You'll see yad sometimes transliterated into the word hands, but you also see kop. That's a Hebrew letter as well, right? Oh, clap your hands, all ye people. Ima yam or am yam, right? All ye people, shout Ra Ya'ai unto Yahweh with the voice of triumph. Ranah. Oh, come on, family. Oh, clap your hands. And it didn't say some people. It said what? All people, all ye people, right? But not just clap your hands, but now you got to put that clap. You got to put that percussion to you got to put it on assignment, right? But it didn't say leave your percussion instruments by itself. It says shout. Guess what? You got to blow your shofar. You got to open up your mouth. It says, let out your war cry. Shout unto Yahweh. Shout unto Elohim with the voice of triumph, the voice of victory. Shout with a voice that's going to split the ears of the enemy. Get your battle cry. Get your war cry going right now, Israel. So the importance of a shofar. Let's see what's the importance of a shofar. Shofar is Israeli. Shofar is the ancient Hebrew. Here's the importance, right? Each letter tells you the shan, which means teeth, tool. So the shapar was used as a tool, right? It was used as an indicator for Israel to shout as well, right? And we see, right, the pa means mouth, instructions, command, right? So Israel had to what? Understand that shapar is a tool, but also they had to listen, right, with the instructions, the word of instructions that was given to Joshua and to pass to the people. And they had to understand protocol, head, top, rank, beginning, protocol, right? So when we go back here, Exodus chapter 19, verse 1, notice what this says. In the third month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day they came into the wilderness of Sinai, right? In the third month, right? In the third month, Israel was given what many call the Mosaic covenant, right? So in the third month, the Most High said, hey, it's time for you guys to be on the clock now, right? So the Most High didn't give them the commandments. He didn't hand down the commandments to them, the covenant to them, until they were what? On that third month. After they complained a number of times. The third month, the third letter, the gamal means maturity, right? It's not just sustain, it means maturity, right? When a child is weaned, it's their third year that they're weaned. Abraham, when he celebrated Isaac's birthday, born day, he was 3 years old. When Hannah dedicated Samuel Shamawa to the temple, he was 3 years old after he was weaned. He was weaned off the milk, right? So in the third month, Israel was given what many call the Mosaic covenant, which is sometimes called the law. And it's also referred to as the law of Yahweh or the law of Moses. But guess what? Moses didn't create these. It was the Most High. He took that covenant, right, the 10 commandments from Abraham, and he handed it down to his seed. And the proof that the covenant was established, the 10 commandments was given to Abraham. Guess what? You see, it says that the Most High established his covenant with Abraham and his seed. So he established that covenant. He handed the covenant down from Noah through Shem down to Abraham. And we can even say Eber, right? Because he was a patriarch of his time, but handed the covenant down all the way to Abraham. And now his seeds are getting the same covenant. They are not they were not given a different covenant. That's why it says Abraham, right? He took the charge. He obeyed the charge of the Most High to walk before him and be perfect. He honored the laws, statutes, and commandments. Right? It wasn't called the Mosaic, and it wasn't called the Nordic. It wasn't called none of that. It was just called the covenant. See, when we start getting into Christianity and Catholicism and all that, they put so many layers over it just to try to find a label, to find a way to separate. Right? No, this is the same covenant. The Most High did not create a new covenant with Noah. It says he established this covenant with Noah. In other words, he stabilized this covenant with Noah, because Noah was out of all the people of his generation, he was righteous, right? Abraham, it didn't say he created a covenant with Abraham. He said he established his covenant with Abraham. In other words, he made it stable with Abraham. Come on, family. That's simple. That's simple right there. Not all these different levels of covenants and all this other stuff people want to broadcast for us, the church. Because if you learn systematic theology, some call it charismatic theology, you'll learn that the 6 and 7 different covenants that they talk about. No, there's one covenant. It's the created covenant. And when the Most High, guess what? With Israel, he renewed that covenant with them. The same commandments are there. He allowed that commandment to go from the parent generation to the seeds. Anyway, let me stop there. Right? Because the covenant, this is what the Messiah said in Matthew chapter 5. He said, think not that I come to destroy what? The law. He's referring to the first 5 books of the scriptures, which is referred to as Torah. I did not come to destroy the law, because guess what? That's the instructions. And within the law contains the commandments. The law, the instructions that Moses was given by the Most High, the commandments is right within there. So Christianity tells you that you don't have to obey the law. They telling you you don't have to obey the covenant. You don't have to obey the commandments. The 10 commandments is the covenant. Whether you want to call it new covenant, it's still the commandments are still part of the covenant. You can't get away, can't get around it. So the covenant that was given to Israel is the same covenant that was given to Abraham, right? Here's the proof. Genesis 17 verse 7. Notice what it says here. And I will establish, wait a minute. Didn't say I will create a new covenant. It says, I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee and their generation for an everlasting covenant. So where did we get this breaking that the covenant was demolished? It said it is an everlasting covenant. Only thing the Most High did in Jeremiah is the renewing of the covenant. The Hebrew word for renew is quadash. Kadash. Right? Quadash is holy, right? Kadash is renew, to make a new. So I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed, Zara'i or Zara, after thee and their generations. Awalam, for an everlasting Awalam covenant, Barayath, to be Elohim unto thee and to thy seed after thee. So the covenant that Israel was handed in the third month in the wilderness, guess what? It's the same covenant. That's why it says, I will establish my covenant between me and thee. And notice this, and thy seed after thee in their generations. What generation? In their generation. When they were in the desert, that third month, the Most High gave them their covenant that was established with Abraham, made stable with Abraham. It's the same covenant, family. You can't get around this. Come on, family. We're keeping it simple. So why is this significant? Why is this significant? It was time for Israel to mature. It was time for Israel to grow up. And as I pointed out, here's the gamal, right? Numerical value is 3, right? Means sustained. It means weaned. It means maturity. It means complete. And as we see here, gamal, that's what this is. The camel, right? The camel hump. That's where you get the word camel from. Gamal. It comes from this letter. This is what I just covered earlier. Gamal, it says, in speaking, it says passive in speaking of the relationship between mother and child. It means to wean the child from its mother's milk. And it gives a reference here, Isaiah 28:9, which was done at the end of a nursing period of about 3 years, right? Gamal, the 3rd year, right? According to ancient Near East customs. And we see 2nd Maccabees chapter 7, verse 27, as is shown by the threefold Ada, as soon as, right, until, right, not getting into all this, but when we go down here, it says, weaning was done on a fixed date. Well, what is the fixed date? The 3rd year on the child's born date. That's the fixed date. This is regarded as the conclusion of the first phase of childhood, according to, I didn't put it up here. So that's what it means, family. That's what it means. Gamal, 3rd year. So the 3rd month, the Most High said it's time for Israel to grow up, family. When we go back to Exodus chapter 19, we go back to verse 16. Notice what it says, right? And it came to pass on the 3rd day in the morning that there were thunder, quala, and lightning, barak yam, and a thick cloud, Ainan, upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet, Shapar, exceeding loud, Kazak, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. Let me read it one more time. And it came to pass on the 3rd day in the morning, right? 3rd day, right? In the morning, right? That there were thunders, Qualah, and lightning, Barak Yam, and a thick cloud, Ainan, upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet, Shapar, exceeding loud, Kazak, so that all the people in the camp trembled. Oh, come on, family. See, that's what happens, family. When you have that authority, when you have that power, guess what, family? You can shout. You can let out your war cry. You can let out a shout of praise. But we have to understand in these times, we should be praising, right? Yeah, we praise, but we also should be letting out a war cry. We should be letting out a shout that split the ears of the opposition, that split the ears of the adversary, that split the ears of the haters, that knocks them off their foundation, that messes with their equilibrium. They can't understand why we keep going hard the way we going hard. They can't understand why you continue to press forward. They can't understand, in spite of all their schemes, all their attacks, you are still growing. They can't understand that, family. They can't understand that why we are still pressing the way that we're pressing. So, family, I just wanted to give you this lesson, this basic foundational lesson tonight, right? The Day of Atonement, understanding the signs, right? That's what we taught on earlier, the Day of Atonement. But tonight, I just want to give you clarity on the blowing of the trumpets, right? The blowing of the trumpets is not just a day of celebrating and worship. That's also a war cry, right? And we have to learn how to make a war cry. The enemy, they have made war cries against our community, and we have to make a war cry, not make their same war cry. We have a unique war cry for us that will split the ears of the opposition. Hallelujah. So I hope and pray that this helps you, family. I just wanted to do a lesson. I know that this was scheduled before, and I was like, let me go ahead and do this lesson. And if you don't see it here, it'll definitely stay posted over at We Woke Now Extended. Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do, right? You'll see this video on We Woke Now Extended, and I encourage you guys to go back over and watch the lesson. And so we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap it up, but I hope this helped you. Let me see here. Let me see some of the comments before we wrap up. Karen Reed, definitely in a war, our community and our kids. We boast in the name of Yahweh. Absolutely. And family, post your comments inside the comment section. Share the video, like and subscribe, not just to this channel. Do it to like and subscribe to the We Woke Now Extended channel. Let's get that channel to at least a minimum of 1,000 subscribers. So with that being said, family, really appreciate you guys' love and the love and support. In the words of Moses, the Most High through his servant Moses, when they were dealing with their opposition, when they were dealing with challenges in Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 and 14, the Most High said to them, "Fear ye not, stand still. See the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians you see today, you don't ever have to deal with them ever again. The Most High will fight for you." But here's the kicker, family. You have to hold your peace. We have to hold our peace. And the key word that's there is karash, which means be quiet. Can't go back. Can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was the... Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10.